We pour so much time and energy into our application code. We've got pull requests, code reviews, all these automated tests. But then, what about the database? For way too many teams, that's where the process just completely falls apart, and honestly, chaos takes over. So today, we're going to talk about the tool that's designed to bring some serious order to that chaos.
So, let's talk about the big problem here. And if you've ever been on a software team, you know this pain. A new feature needs a database change. An alter table over here, maybe a new index over there. How in the world do you make sure that exact change gets applied correctly, everywhere, from your own laptop to the QA server and all the way to production?
And this is the old school, painful way of doing it. You've got a developer, maybe a DBA, who has to manually connect to a server, run some SQL script, and just cross their fingers and hope for the best. This whole process is so fragile, it's inconsistent, and it is just begging for errors to happen. And the worst part? There's no clear history, no paper trail of who changed what, or when, or why.
This quote just hits the nail on the head. It really gets to the human cost of doing things manually. It's not just about technical debt. It's about hours of your life wasted, a ton of frustration, and that nightmare scenario of trying to figure out what went wrong when the site goes down.
And look, in today's world of super fast development, of CI/CD pipelines, this manual approach isn't just a bottleneck. It's a total showstopper. It's a huge risk that can bring your entire delivery pipeline to a grinding halt because it just can't keep up. It can't scale.
So how do we fix this whole mess? Well, this is where a solution comes in that brings all that discipline we have for our application code over to our database. And that solution is Liquidbase. Honestly, the simplest way to wrap your head around it is this. Liquidbase is basically Git for your database. It's version control. It gives you a reliable, automated way to track, manage, and apply all your schema changes just like you already do with your code.
And here is what that new world looks like. A developer writes a database change script and commits it to Git. That commit automatically kicks off the CI/CD server, which then calls Liquidbase to safely and correctly apply that change to the database. The whole thing becomes automated, repeatable, and completely audited.
All right, so it sounds great in theory, right? But how does it actually work? Well, it's not magic. It's actually a really logical system that relies on just a couple of core ideas.
So it all comes down to two key pieces. First, you've got the changelog. Think of this like the master recipe book. It lists every single change you're ever going to make to the database, in the right order. And each step in that recipe is a change set. A change set is just one single, atomic change, like create this table or add this column. It's like a single commit in Git, and it has a unique ID and an author, so you always know where it came from.
Okay, so let's walk through how this all fits together in a modern workflow. A developer pushes a new change set to Git. Boom, that triggers the CI/CD pipeline. The pipeline calls Liquidbase, which can even run some policy checks first to make sure everything is compliant. Then, if it all looks good, Liquidbase intelligently figures out which change sets are new and executes only those. The database is always, perfectly, in sync with the code.
So how does it know which change sets are new? What's the secret sauce? Well, this is it. The very first time Liquidbase runs, it creates two special tables inside your database. The first one, Database Changelog, is basically a history book. It's a ledger that keeps a record of every single change set that's been successfully applied. The other one, Database Changelog Lock, is like a do not disturb sign. It prevents two people from trying to run database updates at the exact same time.
But Liquidbase is way more than just a simple script runner. It is packed with features that are designed to give teams real power and flexibility, especially in those complex, real-world environments.
And this is where the real power-ups come in. You can do rollbacks to safely undo changes if something goes wrong, and one of my absolute favorites, you can use contexts and labels. Imagine being able to tag certain change sets to deploy test data only to your dev environment and know with 100% certainty it will never ever hit production. It's a game changer. Plus, you get tools like database diffs, preconditions, and it supports a ton of different databases and formats. Now, it's also helpful to quickly compare it to another popular tool, Flyway. Flyway uses a simpler linear approach, where the order of changes is based on a version number in the file name. It's straightforward. Liquidbase, on the other hand, uses that changelog ledger we talked about, and that ledger approach gives you a lot more flexibility, especially when you have multiple developers working on different branches at the same time. You avoid those annoying version number conflicts that can be a real headache with simpler systems.
So, what does all of this add up to?
Well, it's a fundamental shift in how we think about our database. We're moving towards a philosophy called database as code.
And this leads us to the golden rule, the core principle. Every single change to the database, no matter how tiny, has to be defined in a script, checked into source control, and deployed through an automated process. No more manual changes. It's time we treat our database schema with the same discipline and respect we give our application code.
And here's a huge piece of advice you really want to listen to. The absolute best time to bring in a tool like Liquidbase is right at the very beginning of a project. Sure, you can bolt it on later, but doing it from day one will save you an incredible amount of work and prevent so many future headaches.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. We've built these incredible automated pipelines for our application code, right? We version it, we test it, we deploy it with confidence. Isn't it finally time we gave our database, the very heart of our application, that same level of care?